My Bill 34M invited me 27F and my husband 29M to an OG. This happened yesterday. We went to my in-laws' house to celebrate my Phil's birthday. The entire family was there, including my Bill and his wife. Now, everyone knows that they're in an open marriage and they're part of a swingers club. They're very open about that. I never had an issue with that and neither my husband, but we never had an interest in this sort of thing at all. So imagine my surprise when my Bill, after making some small talk, told me that he was organizing a small OG with a couple of friends and they needed 2 more people. And what do you know, me and his brother were the perfect couple for it. I never in my life felt so uncomfortable as I did in that moment. I thought that maybe he was joking, but he was completely serious. I told him that no, we weren't interested. But he just said to keep an open mind and that I should talk to my husband before giving an answer. After that I just avoided both him and his wife, and to be honest I didn't enjoy much of the celebration. I just kept thinking about what had happened. I don't think anyone heard it because there was a lot of noise and I was making my way back to the living room when he showed up. There wasn't any alcohol around the house since my Phil has had issues with it in the past, so I couldn't even blame the situation on my Bill being drunk. I still haven't told my husband about it because I don't even know if I should. They both barely have a relationship due to some conflicts in the past, and I said very clearly that we weren't interested, so that should be enough, right? Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1, he invited his own brother on orgy? That's next level weird. Redditor follow up, yeah, I enjoy OGs and would nope out of any if a family member showed up. Redditor 2, yeah, wow. Tip of the hat to you for keeping your cool amidst a bucket of crazy. However, despite being insanely uncomfortable, it seems like you do need to discuss this with your husband. Not to reconsider your answer in the slightest, but your husband should be aware that this happened. After all, your Bill's next conversation with him might well be, so, given it any further thought? What? You know, the OG. And then it goes downhill from there. Letting him be blindsided on that is no bueno. Also, there's also the matter that this is kind of an unwanted sexual advance on both of you. God damn, this is weird. Op answer, you know I didn't think about it before since they're so distant, but since he's comfortable in proposing something like that I don't think he's caring a lot. Update my Bill 34M invited me 27F and my husband 29M to an OG. I decided to give an update, since we've finally reached the end of the mess from the first post. I told my husband, shortly after I posted the story here because I was feeling very anxious and he was going to pick up on that anyway. I don't think I have to say that my husband was livid. I never saw him like that before. After a lot of talking, I ended up learning a lot about the relationship between him and Bill. To keep things short, Bill is a huge asshole who has ruined relationships for my husband in the past. The only reason he didn't ruin ours was because my husband put a lot of distance between himself and his own family. His family, by the way, always chalked it all up to sibling rivalry and never did anything to help, so I don't blame him. What happened after? My husband called Bill and asked him to not contact us anymore. He only wanted him to apologize to me for dragging me into this. Bill denied his request, saying it was just a joke and I should be able to take one like a grown-up. He hung up on us and that was that for a few days, until we received a call from my Mill, who was very angry. Bill had told her and my Phil what had happened and that he was very upset that he couldn't even make jokes without my husband making a big deal out of it. So Mill was calling to say that we and my Bill's family weren't going to be invited to family gatherings anymore until everything was solved. I told my husband about the call and he was surprisingly calm this time around, saying that it was the usual behavior and that if I wanted to he would make an effort, but he didn't care very much. At this point I was angry myself because I never saw this behavior in his family before and it was extremely frustrating. I told him not to bother and that it would be up to him to decide. We kept mostly to ourselves since and nobody reached out to us either. Until Monday, when my Phil called us to say that Bill was invited to spend Christmas with the family because his wife was pregnant. He only wanted to make sure that we knew this because he didn't want us showing up to ruin everyone's good time. Me and my husband ended up laughing about it later because it was so absurd. But I noticed that it has taken a toll on my husband's mood, and I'm debating suggesting therapy for him because I feel like there's a lot he doesn't feel comfortable telling me. We're going to spend Christmas with my parents, and I hope my husband will be able to tune out from this entire situation and have a good time. Edit 1. I didn't expect this to get the attention it did. I've been reading the comments, and I want to say thank you to everyone who shared resources to help us moving forward. A lot of people have also been telling their own stories, and I can't answer them all, but know that I read it and your advices are being heard. This has helped me to get some perspective, as I cannot share what happened with my close friends. My husband is aware of this post and he will read it in his own time. Right now we will be focusing on the holidays, and he would rather deal with it once the celebrations are over. Thank you once again to everyone. Redditor's reactions. Story 2 after. Redditor 1. Phil called us to say that Bill was invited to spend Christmas with the family because his wife was pregnant. He only wanted to make sure that we knew this because he didn't want us showing up to ruin everyone's good time. Bull it. He called to rub it in that Bill is the golden child and your husband is the scapegoat. Really, the only thing to do is to support your husband however he decides to deal with his family. If he wants to ghost the famdumily, so be it. Your husband might benefit from some personal counseling as he processes getting shut out by his family. You and your husband know perfectly well that Bill was not joking. He has an unhealthy obsession with the women your husband has been involved with. Redditor follow up. Bull it. He called to rub it in that Bill is the golden child and your husband is the scapegoat. Definitely, you would have been invited to join in our nice family Christmas with us, except you ruined everything by complaining about being invited to your brother's orgy. This is what you get for making a fuss. Redditor 2. Sounds like you are both best off separating yourselves from his family. WTF kind of mom enables S-time jokes to her daughter-in-law from her other son? I am NC with my sister and VLC with my dad over their jokes and other issues that could be resolved with a simple apology. I don't know what the right answer is for your husband. If he wants to do therapy, by all means. Me, there's no level of therapy that will give me a decent family, so I've long detached myself and moved on. Op answer. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I'm still weirded out after going through it because I could never do that sort of stuff to a family member and be so unapologetic about. I'm sorry about your experience. I hope you've found your own peace and comfort with people that you enjoy. Redditor 3. Sounds like your Bill is the golden child and your husband is the scapegoat. Your husband is probably holding back multiple instances where their parents picked his brother over him, and this is just the final straw. Why would you be showing up to ruin Christmas? Why would they phrase it that way? Because in their heads his refusal to see that Bill is great and doesn't do anything wrong is bad. Go enjoy Christmas with your family. Make sure your husband feels loved and supported and knows that he is in the right here. Don't let your in-laws manipulate you into sweeping this all under the rug. Redditor follow up. No, but why would we even want to go? You people are terrible. And then you hang up. Seriously though, they sound like an awful group of people to be around. Story 2. Me 25M and my girlfriend 25F. She wants to go back to having protected S-time after years of unprotected because she has a new job where she'll be out of town 5 days a week. Me and my girlfriend Kim been together for 3 years. About 6 months in, we agreed to have unprotected S-time from then on. It felt way better, plus she was on birth control and we were both clean and exclusive with each other. Me and Kim met towards the end of college. After we graduated, we moved in together. I had a normal 9-5 job. She has a passion that she pursued, can't say what because it's very specific. She worked odd jobs here and there to pay her half of the bills, but otherwise worked her ass off to advance in the niche entertainment field that she's very passionate about. She recently got a job with the biggest company in her field. She's over the moon. This has been her goal her entire life. This job involves being on the road 4 or 5 days a week, working an extremely busy schedule, and being around her coworkers 24/7 when she's working. Again, I can't say what her job is, but she and everyone she'll be working with are all young, really good looking, and in excellent shape. They're gonna be around each other constantly and there's a huge hookup culture within the company. One of Kim's friends who is in the field and aspires to work for that company one day joked that it's basically one big OG. Kim doesn't start working there for another 3 or 4 weeks, but of course it's all she can talk about because she's so excited. Over the weekend she sat me down and said, listen, we need to have a serious conversation. Straight up facts, I'm gonna out of town 5 days a week for the next 2-3 years. I would never cheat on you, and I know you would never cheat on me, but we both need to be smart. You need to start wearing condoms again. Again, I fully intend to be faithful, but it's better safe than sorry. STDs are no joke. Plus I don't want an accidental pregnancy. I was just kind of stunned by this. I don't mind wearing a condom, that's not the problem at all. It's just that after 2.5 years of trusting each other and not wearing one, she wants me to wear one because she's starting to work at this new job. And again, she's gonna be on the road 5 days a week with guys who are objectively really good looking. I didn't know how to respond to her, so we dropped it for the time being, but it needs to be addressed. We had time this morning and I wore a condom to respect her wishes, but I feel weird about it because of the implications of this. What do I do? Say? Just want to add that she's the perfect girl and we have no problems otherwise in our relationship. Couldn't say a single bad thing about her, it's just this one issue. Redditor's reaction. Story 3 after. Redditor 1, reading between the lines, she doesn't trust herself or you not to cheat. She's using a lot of strong language to reassure you and herself that you'll both be faithful, but she obviously doesn't believe it. The pregnancy concern may be true, but I suspect it's secondary to the real issue. I'd just be direct. Hey, you know when you asked me to wear condoms from now on? I may be off base, but you seem to be implying that the likelihood of one of us cheating will be higher after you start traveling for work. I know you told me you trust me and that I should trust you, but your request and timing suggest to me you're having doubts as to your fidelity or mine or both, so can we talk about that? Redditor follow up, not only that, but she's implying that if she does cheat, she won't say anything about it and wants condoms to be the default so that she won't have to feel guilty about potentially exposing op to STIs. I'd probably just end the relationship at this point because I'd find it impossible to trust her going forward. Redditor 2, if she hadn't made the comment about STDs, I would say the big legit fear is accidental pregnancy cause nothing is foolproof. But the STD comment makes her request sound really bad and looks like a questionable suspicious preempt attempt. Redditor follow up, more than likely, she will end up cheating on op. What a damnable thing to say. Why would she ever say that? In a way, it's very good because op can end the relationship before it gets to that point. On the other, it does suck that the person he thought he could trust could betray him like that. Story 3, my M23 girlfriend F23 just cheated on me in an extravagant way, but we have a lease together. What to do? My girlfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years, going pretty well in general. Last month, while off at a party dancing, her and one of her friends, also female, started getting rather frisky, and ended up kissing on the dance floor. Friend initiated it. I was okay with this, found it rather entertaining. We ended up going off with her friend and her friend's boyfriend to have a foursome, guys not really interacting sexually. This was my girlfriend's first sexual experience with a woman, it was rather spontaneous, and I was okay with the whole thing. Fast forward, she goes off on a girls' night with a few friends, including the girl involved in the foursome. One of these girls, 5 of them I think, had just broken up with her fiancé and was rather distraught. They went out to the bar, and then back to one of the girls' houses where she lives with her boyfriend. This guy was working all night, so was not around. They planned to stay over there that night. In my gut I knew something would happen, but my brain didn't register it. But when leaving my girlfriend, I looked into her eyes and told her be good. Cue this morning, she walks in, hickeys all over her neck, and tells me they had a lesbian OG that night. Now I'm okay with her fooling around with girls, I just want to be there is all, but this is a whole other deal. I left to walk around town for a bit, as we share a 1-bedroom apartment 1-year lease, but we were pretty secure when we rented it, and clear my head. I didn't know what to do, I told her how hurt I was and all that. She asks me to forgive her and tells me she still loves me, which I believe, but now I don't know, I don't feel for her anymore. That place in my heart that would swell when I think of her is cold and tight. I don't want to kiss her or hug her anymore, and I don't really know what to do. We live together, and have a lease until May. I don't know who to talk to, so I made a throwaway to post up here. Please, any advice? My last girlfriend broke up with me after telling me all sorts of promises, and then started dating women, so this sort of opens up those wounds again, which were quite healed up. I don't think she'd leave me for a woman, or anyone for that matter. She still loves me, she says, but my feelings for her were taken out behind the barn and shot. Help please. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, she broke your trust and broke your boundaries. What she did was awful and many would be understanding if this destroys your relationship. Personally, I would break up, but some people can look past this. Is it worth it to you? Can you ever trust her again when she's out drunk with friends? No one here can tell you what you should do, it's all up to you. Redditor follow up, not exactly, he didn't set boundaries. He didn't say anything along the lines of lesing out with other females when I'm not there is unacceptable. If you respect me in this relationship, don't do it. He encouraged her to do it when she was within him, like oh it's not cheating, it's hot. And then he knew she was going to a party where some it would go down. And in her mind, he was cool with some girl-on-girl action happening. He just didn't like that it was so wild, and now he's jealous that he wasn't there, but that wasn't her fault because he never said where his boundaries were. If he had said we can mess around with threesomes and more sums together, but if you go and duck another girl, it's still cheating. Don't do that. Then she went out and did this, then yes, she is worth breaking up with. But if she doesn't know where the line is because half the time the guy is saying damn it's so hot when you're with other girls, then put yourself in her shoes. She is at a party, things are getting a little hot and heavy, there's peer pressure, she's excited and atrony, and she figures it is all girls so it is not cheating. Can't blame her for enjoying herself. What you need to do is set boundaries properly. A girl or guy has to know if you do X, Y or Z, the relationship is done. And she has to know you have the strength to actually cut things off if she goes too far. If she goes and gets drunk and ducks around with girls again, then you drop her, because this time she actually broke a boundary. Then you can enjoy her, your shared apartment, and threesomes. Edit, a lot of people replying about how it was implied that the lesbian OG wouldn't be okay don't understand how relationships people work. My whole point is, don't ducking imply things and then passively sit back and think oh god I know something bad will happen but she thought it was borderline acceptable, he wouldn't care that much. That is what matters. Not some absolutist logic that Reddit values. She isn't thinking in terms of having time with women is the exact same as having time with another guy, and I wouldn't do that, would I? She is thinking he was okay with me doing some girl on girl earlier. So it probably isn't a big deal if I let this girl kiss me. Well, I let her kiss me, I can probably kiss back. Oh, now we are all drinking and I'm aroused as duck, and she is giving me a hickey and it's so hot. Wait, I'm being a sut, should I really do this? Rationalize, he won't care too much because he was cool with me doing lesbian stuff. He's not threatened by that. I still love him. Oh my god that feels so good, what is even happening? That's just how her mind works. If you give a girl or guy, I'm not saying girls in particular are like this, an implied suggestion to be faithful and don't really define what faithful means, then while in the midst of a highly erotic atmosphere with drinking, peer pressure, a party mood, etc. Their mind will find a way to make it okay and justify what they are doing. These people who don't understand that just don't understand relationships. She isn't a cheating, trust-breaking BTCH who cares more about getting her pussy licked than being faithful. She is a human. It sounds like she still loves you and you love her. Quit being passive, lay down the rules, tell her no more lesing around anymore, and if she wants to do that, it's over. A lot of what other people are saying here is purely theory. It isn't based on how people actually are and what actually works in relationships. Redditor 2. Did you guys set up implicit boundaries when it came to experimenting with other people? Because if not, I think you're overreacting a tad. If you encouraged her to hook up with other girls, then I could see why she might think it's okay to do it even when you're not there. Saying be good is not good enough, there's a million ways to interpret that. I think it's a little ridiculous to throw away 2 years over what sounds like a failure in communication. You're both at fault here. You shouldn't be having foursomes on a split decision, you should be discussing what's okay and what's not okay beforehand. So yeah, she shouldn't have assumed that just because you were okay with that you'd be okay with her having a lesbian OG, but you also should have communicated better than A. Be good. Redditor follow up, respectfully disagree. They've been together for 2 years. Him being okay with her kissing another girl on the dance floor isn't any kind of tacit consent for a lesbian OG, and she knows this. If this had been an OG with 3 men, I assume you would have broken up with her, right? I don't think this is a failure to communicate. It sounds like your girlfriend knows what she did was wrong. Cheating is cheating. I don't assume I can sleep with someone else if my partner hasn't explicitly forbidden it. Rather, you err on the side of caution until you have those discussions to permit such experimentation. Whether you can work with her to move past this is up to you. But you can't absolve her of blame because she might have thought her actions were okay. Redditor 3, I would break it off with her. I think you will find yourself not able to trust her with men or women. That will start to gnaw at you. She is obviously wanting to experiment a bit, so let her go and do it. If you are meant to be together, she will come back to you. I'm sorry this happened to you. Being cheated on sucks. Answer, thanks for the consolation. The hardest thing is, I don't know logistically how to break it off. We're on a lease together for another 8 months in a 1-bedroom apartment. I stupidly gambled on this, and it bit me hard.